Welcome to The Advocates. I'm Aaron Dean. A former Trump advisor is being hailed as an LGBTQ plus champion by her daughter. It happened at a meeting of the Log Cabin Republicans. That's a queer group within the GOP. Claudia Conway says that her mother, Kellyanne Conway, is unwavering in support for her queer daughter.
My mother's support was not just a passive acknowledgement, but an active, affirming stance that not only supported myself, but millions of Americans. We now live in the age of performative politics. We are surrounded by people who talk and talk and talk, but never do. My mom not only talks a lot, but she is one of the few people who actually does.
A big announcement to mark Transgender Awareness Week. The first pageant for transgender women is coming to the U.S. Miss International Queen USA is coming to Las Vegas in 2024. The international version of the pageant is held each year in Thailand. Representing the U.S. in that event this year is Catalina Enriquez, the first openly transgender woman to compete for Miss USA. Miss Queen USA is being organized by the nonprofit Be the Transformational Change Fund. The group helps LGBTQIA individuals with housing, employment, and social justice. And a group of right-wing moms are calling the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade a, quote, non-binary and transgender extravaganza. The group called 1 Million Moms has so far collected nearly 30,000 signatures on an online petition voicing disapproval of inclusion efforts for the parade. It mentioned self-identified non-binary Broadway performers Justin David Sullivan and Alex Newell. The group says that this year's event could expose millions to an alleged, quote, liberal LGBTQ agenda. They also say that Macy's department store has lost their trust. Maj Gen Janeen Birckhead has served in the military for over 30 years. The Hampton University graduate began her journey in ROTC and is now the top of command for the Maryland National Guard. She's the only black woman to be leading a state military, and the general is paving the way for others to follow in her place. For some background, what made you want to serve this country? What was it that said, you know what, this is what I want to do?
So, Aaron, service has always been part of how I grew up. I'm from the Maryland's Eastern Shore, and my mom was always big into service. So whether it was ringing the bell for the Salvation Army or for Red Kettle Society, Relay for Life, March of Dimes, or just going around doing things for people and helping in our community, that was the way I was brought up. Never dawned on me that my mom would have this great idea, Janeen, you should go into the military. And it all stemmed from looking for money for college. So I was destined to go to Hampton University. That's where she wanted me to go. And she got this bright idea that I should apply for an Army ROTC scholarship, which I had not thought about. My grandfather served in the Army, and my dad served in the Navy, but we had never thought that I would serve in the military. So lo and behold, I applied for the Army ROTC scholarship and I got it. So now I've caught it. What do I do with it? So I go to Hampton for 4 years. I ROTC for 4 years, and I come out and I'm a second lieutenant. And so that started the journey.
And kind of tell us a little bit, what's it like leading a state military? What all do you do?
Well, that's interesting you say that, because as the adjutant general, I also serve on the governor's cabinet. So Governor Moore, I'm a cabinet member for him. And then I also am a general officer in the Maryland Army National Guard. So bring those two together, and our mission is to serve here at home when our nation needs us, whether it's fires or floods or civil unrest, if you will, or abroad when there is a war to fight, or there are other things to do, like our state partnership program where we're partnering with Bosnia-Herzegovina and Estonia. So I say that the National Guard is best of both worlds, because we're bringing together a lot of civilian experience and things that you've learned on the outside of the military, and you bring that together with what the military does. And the Army by far has the best educational experiences, if you will, and it's inculcated in what we do in the Army. So when you can bring those two together, I think you get a really strong person a civilian employee when in their civilian lives, and when those two things come together. So at the same time, when you're serving as a civilian, say you're working for a company or an industry, and then you're also going to be in the National Guard and put the uniform on and serve your country. You bring all of those things together, and that's what makes a service member in the Maryland National Guard.
And so, like right now in your position, what are some of your goals and initiatives, things that you want to kind of put forth that you can tell us about? I don't want you to reveal any secrets or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I have lots of ideas and goals, but really it is certainly readiness to ensure that our soldiers are ready. So they're always prepared to react. So they're going to their training, they're doing their basic weapons qualification. Medical readiness is really important part of being a member of the National Guard or being a member of the service. So we have to be medically ready. Behavioral health, ensuring that we are mentally ready and able to respond and be good soldiers or airmen. So those are some of my immediate goals when I talk about the person of the Maryland National Guard or the soldier, the airman. The readiness of that soldier is so important. And then our state partnership program is really important. Bosnia and Herzegovina, we've been partners for 20 years, Estonia for 30, and we've been working really close with them to help develop their military. And then we're also working with them on civ to civ and civ to mil relationships. So that's really a part of the National Guard, the state partnership program. So when you couple our readiness with our state partnerships and what we're doing, our missions at overseas, then you really have a soldier who or an airman who's ready to respond. So those are some of my goals as we continue to be able to serve the country and serve Maryland.
You know, we're always talking about the need for visibility and representation, diversity and inclusion. You know, how do you feel that your role and your position is helping push that envelope forward when it comes to the military?
Yeah. I think that it's important because representation matters. Um, in my experience, I attended the Department of Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute down in Florida many years ago. And in working in that business, one of the things and a lesson that they taught us was when you walk in the door, the first thing somebody sees is your race and gender. It's just for most people is what they experience. And then they go on to get to know you. So I need to be able to get into the door and then somebody can recognize that, oh, she's a leader, she's a competent tactician, she's a strategist, she's educated, but you may not know that about me walking in the door. So I need there to be, when we talk about representation, when I walk in the door, that you have that same feeling when you see somebody that looks like me, that you may automatically assume that I have all those qualities. And then sometimes that doesn't happen when you see someone who walks in the door that looks like me. So hopefully through representation, those any of those preconceived notions are immediately changed or changed over time so that we can better have a fuller representation of people who look like me, women of color who we're serving. The Army is one of the best examples of diversity and inclusion. You know, the Army was the lead in bringing in people who did not look like the average soldier when we first started out. So we talk about the military. That is certainly a place where you're going to find diverse populations coming together for a common cause.
And what do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be that I left this organization better than I found it. When, people have monuments in their names and they have buildings named after them and all those things. But it'd be better if a mentee of mine or someone who didn't even know me years from now, like I do for one of my mentors, James F. Frederick, who was an adjutant general, that I remember his name. And when I'm talking fondly about the Guard, that people remember Janeen's name or General Birckhead. So over time and space that I'm remembered as someone who was a change agent for the better, that's what I would want my legacy to be, and to leave the organization better than I found it.
Thanks so much for watching The Advocates. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live, and you can even subscribe to our YouTube channel. For The Advocate channel, I'm Maj Gen Janeen.